India is emerging as a major Apple manufacturing hub, with reports that key supplier Foxconn plans to produce up to 30 million iPhones this year in India. That's around twice last year's volume. That double down comes as the US tech giant pivots to India as part of a strategy to diversify manufacturing beyond China. Ishan Garg with this report.
This small electronics store in India's financial capital of Mumbai bears the sign of Apple's slow but growing presence in India. Apple products now make up about 1/5 of Devan Shukla's total sales, from nearly zero a few years ago. But growth has been modest. Apple's popular iPhone, for example, still only captures a quarter of India's smartphone market. It's largely due to its price point, which includes import costs. Retailers like Maxtech hope the price will go down if more manufacturing comes here.
अभी जो मार्जिन है, मैं आपको पहले भी बोला कि 1 to 2% है. अगर इंडिया में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वो ब्रांड होता है तो बेसिकली नॉर्मल मार्जिन तो बढ़ने ही वाला है. जैसे 5 to 7% यानी नॉर्मल जो ब्रांड है वो कंपैरिजन में आ गया तो हमारे लिए भी अच्छा है वैसा.
Apple may have opened its first stores in India in 2023, but its presence here came years before. Its former supplier, Taiwan-based Wistron, first started assembling phones here in 2017. Foxconn, another Taiwanese manufacturer, did the same soon after. By the end of fiscal 2023, Apple counted 14 suppliers in India, with 7 in Tamil Nadu. Among the more recent additions, Apple's US-based screen vendor Corning International broke ground on a new manufacturing facility in the southern state in partnership with India's Optimus. Supply chain data shows that Apple has been scaling back manufacturing in China since the COVID-19 pandemic and expanding its footprint here. Analysts estimate that currently 15% of all iPhones are made in India, and that number is projected to rise to 25% by 2027, which means that roughly 1 in 4 iPhones around the world could be made in India in the next 2 years. Analysts say Apple's pivot followed supply chain disruptions in China during the COVID-19 crisis, which highlighted the risk of concentrating the bulk of its manufacturing in China. They say the move to diversify is even more urgent now as US tariffs on China weigh further on costs. And India can capitalize by being more attractive to Apple's suppliers.
Income tax, corporate tax has been brought down very substantially. So all of that makes a very compelling story. And the competitive labor, manpower, and the availability of significant number of people for large scale plants. These are the big compelling factors.
It's not just the federal government offering benefits and incentives. States such as Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Gujarat are also competing to bag Apple's business.
There are capital subsidies of 10, 15, 25%, even higher than that by the state governments. In electricity, you have exemption from electricity duty. In addition to that, when you buy the land, the stamp duty exemption is given. So there is a clutch of benefits. There are certain states which give incentives on employment.
For India, it is the promise of more manufacturing jobs. A report by the Economic Times estimated Apple's pivot could generate 600,000 new jobs by the end of this year. But how China views India's bid to attract Apple is another question, in a rivalry that might further complicate Delhi-Beijing ties.
Is to rival China in any way. Ironically, it needs Chinese equipment, Chinese technology, Chinese imports, Chinese technicians to help it do that. So instead of having the kind of current policy where we are vetting every Chinese proposal suspiciously and doing a case-by-case clearance, it would be good that we really give the signal that India is open for Chinese business.
To make the most of Apple's pivot, analysts say India still needs to invest billions of dollars to create an ecosystem of companies that can make and supply parts locally. There's certainly an appetite for it. Beyond manufacturing, Apple also plans to expand its retail footprint with 4 more stores this year in Bengaluru, Pune, Delhi and Mumbai. Ishan Garg, CNA, New Delhi.